To someone the other day, they said now is not a good time to be a technology late adopter.
Really focusing then and now and personalising the information that you're requesting is all part of that customer journey.
But we've got used to the fact now that even in business-to-business transactions, some are just so much better than others.
We all want a much more seamless experience.
So just start using this sort of stuff and seeing how can that be leveraged so that if customer experience is the realm that you're thinking about in that moment, that you're in the first half of the companies that do it, not the second half.
Well, interestingly enough, I was actually offered an opportunity to talk, $45 to talk for 2 hours about a random subject, and the only criteria seemed to be that you had to have a nice English accent, a non-regional English accent.
My mind is whirring and boggling at the same time. $45 to talk for 2 hours.
It's just random conversation.
That's not a great hourly rate, right? But
no,
I guess it's...
but I was almost, could I keep a conversation going for 2 hours with someone on random
Is it a conversation
subjects?
or is it a
apparently
presentation?
it's a conversation with someone else. They wanted somebody with a...
They could just download our podcast.
Oh,
They've got hours of it.
I think you could have had, yeah. But
we've done 50, 60 hours worth of this stuff already. What do you think they're using it for? Some training of an AI bot?
Must be. I might follow it up to see what it was.
Yeah.
What it was about. But
so the other day, you may have heard that we do something around HubSpot. We may have mentioned that a few times. And the founder of HubSpot, or one of the two co-founders of HubSpot, a chap called Brian Halligan, has created an AI, I don't know what you call it, agent of himself. Because he's written books, he's done quite a lot of lecturing at universities, and he's given lots of talks.
I see where
so
this is going.
He's fed all of this stuff into an AI agent, and he's now online, and you can interact with him either text or audio or video. So a bit like that thing you did the other week, HeyGen thing. So you can just have a video call with this AI version of Brian Halligan, the founder of HubSpot. So if you want to ask any questions about, how he came up with the idea or what he recommends companies do, or just tap into his expertise about how to grow a company, you've got someone there he's in charge of founded $40 billion company that's done quite well for itself. He knows how to recruit salespeople. He knows how to connect marketing and sales. He's done an awful lot of deep thinking about this stuff, even though he's not executive anymore. But you can just go on there for free. bhalligan.ai and you're in. And just chat with him. And it's even better than a ChatGPT generic stuff because you're getting the source is someone you know.
Yeah, really refined.
Yeah. So I'm going to have a little bit more. I put a few questions his way yesterday. I've got some bits back out of it in terms of how the HubSpot structure works and what the politics are like internally and all that. And you can ask cheekier questions than you would ask the real version.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm talking about being rude. I'm just to the point.
Yeah.
And I thought it was quite interesting. So imagine if, I don't know where that leaves people with expertise in any area, like us for what we do, or our customers, they're experts in what they do. If you could make an AI agent of them just being able to talk.
I suppose you've still got to have the expertise in the first place, haven't you?
Yeah, but once you've done that, though, and you've put that out in the space like he has, that anybody can access it, have you just given everything away? Or is that just like writing blogs? No, of course not. It just further enhances the reputation you have as an expert, and then someone will want to come to you to hear it from the horse's mouth.
I think it probably just democratises your information a bit more, doesn't it? Gets it out there.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
You can kind of...
Maybe you just have to be more confident about that.
Yeah.
And just say, that's what my AA bot says.
SME Growth Podcast.
Yeah, the podcast agents.
People would just go to that though rather than listen to us, wouldn't they? Maybe it's way nicer. Better looking for sure.
They don't have so many dad jokes.
It would be program dad jokes into it.
Yeah. No,
I did.
Program
I
it
did
to not tell any.
I did see a great one the other day, but it was a picture of the what's it called? There's a big telescope thing, the massive ones they do in Russia. It was a huge thing to, I don't know, look at some stars or something.
That's generally what they do. Yeah, stars miles away. Most of them aren't miles away. Quite a few miles away.
But look at that, and someone said, "Yeah, I went to a wedding there once, and it wasn't very good, but the reception was amazing."
Why didn't I see that coming? Whenever that truck hits you with a punchline like that, you think, I should have seen that coming. Wedding, reception, it's just all lined up.
Log that for later.
Yeah, good. No, unfortunately, you didn't. You just said it on air. The world now has it. Time for a podcast. This episode is sponsored by GoCardless. Running a business can mean spending far too much time just trying to get paid. GoCardless automates bank payments so you can collect what you're owed on time without chasing. Over 100,000 businesses worldwide already trust them. Businesses typically spend 59% less time managing payments and get paid 47% faster. Better cash flow, less admin, and more time to grow. If getting paid is taking up more time than it should, fix it with GoCardless. Head to gocardless.com/podcast to claim 90 days fee-free. T's and C's apply. Hello and welcome to another episode of the SME Growth Podcast from Wellmeadow, where once again we're coming up with something interesting and useful, hopefully, for owners and managers of small and medium-sized enterprises. I like when I just said that there, I got a snort from the other side of the table. Richard, explain yourself. Do we not come up with useful and interesting stuff for owners and managers of small and medium-sized enterprises?
That wasn't the snort. The snort was...
You were thinking about your dead joke. You have another one.
Well, probably, yeah.
It was a run-on from our preamble.
It's a dangerous place to go.
Do you think we're called SME Growth Podcast? I think SME is a very European thing or British thing. SMB seems to be what the Americans call it.
SMB.
Yeah, which is probably why we rank so highly for search on SME Growth Podcasts, because everyone else calls it SMB. Anyway, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Very good. So anyway, here we are again, another episode, and we're going to talk this week about CX.
CX.
Now, everyone's thinking either,
Explosives.
I know what that is.
Semtex. Explosives.
Or what the blinking heck is that? Customer experience.
Customer experience.
CX. So
very jazzy term. In your next meeting now, you can go in and say, I think we need to work on the CX. And everyone will go, wow,
he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So BS bingo, I often win that. In fact, a couple of the board meetings I chair at, they actually have the bingo card ticking off the buzzwords as Parry issues
Maybe we
them
should do
Buzzword
quiz.
bingo.
Buzzword bingo.
We'll save that one up for Christmas.
Podcast. Yeah.
We'll do the Christmas 25 Buzzword bingo episode.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about customer experience.
Yeah.
Where did this idea come from?
We talk a lot on this podcast about sales processes and lead gen and all that type of thing, but we haven't really talked a lot about what happens once you've won customers.
We should do a bit more of that.
And I think, how do you develop the customer experience? And now, clearly, there's a lot of B2C element in this, but I do think that what happens in B2C land very quickly and increasingly so bleeds into B2B.
I think you're right.
Because we all want those experiences. A lot of this, I think, is driven, particularly, maybe not a lot, but driven by things like the iPhone, which has really kind of changed the way that we think about what an app looks like or what a service looks like or all of that.
Well, okay, extend that though to any even service, but as a consumer that you buy, there'll usually be an early adopter in that sector that just does it so much better than anyone else. So whether it be Virgin famously on anything they touched, whether that be flights obviously or cinemas or whatever, or record stores, or in banking where HSBC, when they first started up, First Direct, they only recruited people with zero experience of banking. They wanted a complete break from the past.
Yeah.
And then the First Direct swallowed the Midland Bank as it was back in the day. So that you get that early adopter bit, which completely sets the standard, and then everybody else has to rush to catch up. So like you say, the Apple iPhone became the standard, and then everybody did pretty much catch up and maybe even overtake. Samsung fans would argue in other areas. But I take your point as well that whatever we all experience as consumers definitely rubs across into our work life in a way that maybe in the past we had a false divide perhaps, but nevertheless a divide where we thought, well, that's always going to be different because as a consumer, that's how people look after you. Whereas in business, it's all a bit more, fundamental perhaps and a bit less glamorous. But we've got used to the fact now that even in business-to-business transactions, some are just so much better than others.
Yeah.
Some of the customer portals you get online, so you can go and see the status of your job, so your account, and just do stuff. You can raise tickets online if you've got a question and you want to see, and that's great. And then you get reports back on how well you've done the service, how many of your people are engaging with it. Some of the stats you get on HubSpot as to how many people in your whole organization are actually logging on and doing stuff and how many hours everyone's using it and how engaged they are in it. You get much more of a feedback proactively.
I think,
than you would have done.
We all want a much more seamless experience. So, a lot of and I was explaining this actually to a guy in Israel who has a business where he grows locusts and turns them, apparently the locust has the most protein per amount of mass.
A kilogram.
That'd be.
Don't get many of them to the pound. It turns out you do.
So anyway, locusts are very high in protein, and so he's bringing them back as a food source.
Back.
as a food source,
like a plague.
Like a plague. So he's growing these locusts, and it was really intrigued me. So I've got some. They're in flight actually.
Oh no, the puns are coming in.
They're in flight on the way from Israel.
He's got a squadron.
I bought some.
Or whatever the collective now.
They're the most expensive flipping energy bars I've ever purchased. But once you commit,
you're importing them from Israel.
I'm importing them from Israel.
Can you not get locusts grown locally?
I don't know.
Could you have a locust? Anyway, we're going
locust farm. Well, I could do. Well, this could be the start, but you heard it.
So where did that map into customer experience?
So just because the customer experience I had of trying to purchase it was really quite, if I'm honest, janky, and I actually fed it back to him and said, look, in the UK, we're pretty seamless now on our customer.
Well, in the best in class, yeah.
So, and I said, you'll really struggle with these type of things if you don't sort this out. Anyway, so long story short, I think we have got this kind of familiarity now with just really seamless processes, really, and everyone wants
expectations.
An expectation wants this, and I think that does definitely map into a B2B thing. So I thought, well, actually, that could be quite interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
How can we
locusts?
we can do.
Well,
I'll bring it in. I'll bring some in. You'll have it here. Energy bars.
Okay. Can I have something to wash it down with? I did go, and credit here to Beth, who organises the Shrewsbury Food Festival. I did have some locusts or some insect or other, in one of the food festival stalls. And okay, it's probably heavily spiced, but it was quite nice. Yeah. And if that's a way we solve our food crisis. Anyway, we're going down a different way. The point is that you experienced a bad customer experience and turned, very cleverly, a negative experience into a positive one for him. And you ended up buying some locusts as a result. Yeah. You didn't see that one coming. In flight, indeed. Apologies, dear listener. Right. Locusts are in flight. The customer experience. Expectations are high. Best in class in any sector, drags everybody up to their level. Business to business is starting to expect the same sort of treatment and slickness and polish as a B2C, as a consumer customer would do, which I get. And think now how easy it is, and the experience of buying a train ticket on the train line. Or an EasyJet ticket if you fly EasyJet or Ryanair, whoever. They've all got pretty slick processes now. And they never used to be. They've really refined them. But the way that it's made so easy for you to buy, customizing it all the way, massive upsell enticements all the way through, which you can dodge if you don't have to, as we know. But when you get there, you then have, like you said earlier, once you become a customer, you will then have personalised follow-ups. So if you didn't book your baggage on the plane, you'll get offers for that. If you didn't book the hire car or the hotel, you get offers for that. You can turn all that off. You're on. You'll probably get an email the week before you fly saying, "On your week to go, are you getting excited yet? Here's the weather forecast for the place you're going to. Don't forget you can check in from next Wednesday." All this stuff wouldn't work if it was just a standard email going out to everybody. So the systems are using the data that it's got on you and the stage you're at to be able to give you something useful. Yeah. When you come back, how was your flight? Fill in this survey. Win a prize. All that sort of stuff.
And we're talking about this as well. I mean, maybe it's kind of aligned to customer journey. So we've got a client that does a lot of recruitment in the legal sector, and trying to get solicitors to fill in forms for the data they need to actually make the service really good is quite hard. So doing a lot of thinking around, well, how do you actually get people, how do you take them on that journey of actually making this interesting for them to do, and then actually, like you say, we've got this information but we haven't got this, or you've done this bit but you haven't done this bit, and really focusing then and narrowing and personalising the information that you're requesting is all part of that customer journey. But there's a big thing around preemptive customer experience and preemptive customer service. People are no longer. I think there is an expectation now that companies have a lot of data on us, and if they've got the data, why can't they use it?
I've given you permission to use it, so use it for good, not for bad. Don't just market to me with it. Don't try and upsell. Give me some value. We talked earlier about a capital equipment manufacturer, and some of those I know listen to the podcast, so you know who you are. You've got a log of all the equipment you've sold in the past over the decades that you've been in business to each of the customers that you know very, very well. Why don't you use that more proactively to say, I know that you bought this off us 10 years ago, that might need replacing, and this one 5 years ago is probably now entering the phase where the maintenance of it needs to change from this approach to that approach, or maybe you get different spares online, just like with your car. When it gets to 60,000 miles, you need the timing belt change on your car. It's handy if you get remind you that. Not on my electric car.
What's one of them?
Yeah.
But an interesting, like, how many companies, I mean, I know a lot of the big brands are going to be doing this all the time, but in SME land, how many SMEs are really focusing on Net Promoter Score, CSAT scores,
customer satisfaction. Those of you out there, CSAT.
So, and actually even having a baseline of how happy your customers are with their experience.
Yeah.
And again, that was another thing that came up this week when we were talking to some people. We're not talking to the customers. We're not letting the customers know. We're not giving them. We've got parts that are going to be late or they're held up. We're not.
Communication.
How much are we communicating to them, which is all part of that customer experience.
How much of their pain can you take away? Because I think a lot of the time, anxiety when you're buying big ticket items is through the unknown.
Yeah.
And if you're busy, you've got to get around to ringing up and finding out from the supplier where they're at and all that sort of thing. If that's served up to you proactively and you're gain confidence over time, if you're continuously getting messages saying your order is on time, how many times do you now read the Amazon emails that come through saying your order is due for delivery tomorrow? Because I've just ordered it. I don't bother anymore. I just know it's going to turn up.
Yeah.
I don't think I've missed an Amazon delivery in goodness how long. No. And they've not paid me to say that. So it's customer experience. Customer
experience. So part of that is like mapping out, okay, what is the journey that people are going on? What are the various touch points?
Yeah.
And then I think there are now, we talk about a lot of SaaS tools and things like that, software as a service tools on this podcast. But what is that kind of digital transformation piece that you can do around kind of...
From the tech point of view?
From the tech stack point of view. And mapping out that tech stack with your customer journey, and that's obviously part of that is through the sales process, but particularly the handover from sales to maybe after sales or implementation, operations, whoever's doing that.
Yeah.
But also then that point of, okay, well, we've delivered the project and everything's gone well, but how do we keep in touch with customers? How do we keep nurturing them and educating?
Well, I think what we've got here is three things that need to come together, and they're only now just about able to come together. The first one is the easy one, which is what we're talking about today, just having an awareness that this is a good thing to do, with expectations at the point where it pays you back to do it, rather than you just doing something over and above what's needed. So that's the first one. The second one is having the tech available to be triggered when you have certain bits of information so that you can then do something about it. And we've got omni-channel solutions, so you can bring all together your SMS, your emails, your WhatsApp even, and phones and all that. It all comes into one place, even your meetings, transcriptions of everything. I think we're getting much happier with things being recorded now and stuff like that. So we've started to get more automatability, that's not the right word, the capability to automate and the willingness or preparedness to do it. The bit that's been missing all along is good enough data to trigger these automations and for you to want them to do something about it. And what's happening now is a massive revolution, I think, in how data is created. Whereas in the past we had databases that someone would have to go in and fill in, which is a classic CRM of any flavour. You'd have boxes you have to type in, not just first name, last name, phone number, what are they buying, all that sort of thing. But it needed you to be very deliberate about it. It was proactive. Now we've got all this unstructured data, as HubSpot calls it. And with the advent of AI being able to scrape and assimilate this stuff, it's starting to look quite incredible when you go into these systems now, and you can get a bit of a rundown on what's going on. So when I go into a customer record on HubSpot now, especially a long-standing customer, and we're talking customers here specifically, not prospects and leads, early stage selling stuff, people who've been around for a while, and you go to the summary of that company or customer, it's incredibly rich paragraph at the top end of the page, just summarizing that customer. How long have they been a customer for? What type of things they buy? What have they spent over the years? Who the key contacts are? And I think, my goodness, that is not a bad little paragraph. If I just needed, to explain to anyone, or remind myself, or look into someone else's customers, phenomenal. Now think about triggering certain events off that. So a bit like the example that HubSpot themselves give with this AI use of unstructured data. Imagine if you could now contact every customer that's ever had a problem with X. And in the past, unless you'd clocked that, someone of your service engineers had written it down, ticked a box on the form, someone had typed it in, you would never know. Whereas now, with nearly every interaction being recorded, transcribed, summarized, you can pick up on these sort of things. Anybody's ever had this particular fault or this concern or this worry about an obstacle of purchasing or something. You can segment those out and do something with them. So suddenly I think we've got this coming together of the three things: the awareness that it's a good thing to do, the automation to make it easier to do, and now the triggers because of this unstructured data coming in.
Unstructured data, I think that's going to lead itself to a lot more natural voice search or natural language search.
Yeah.
So we're almost like, it's like Star Trek, isn't it? For those who are inclined.
Which bit of it is like Star Trek?
Everything. No, just the whole kind of, asking the computer to do stuff. They did a lot of asking the computer.
Yeah.
Kind of to do stuff.
Well, what was that talk we went to at Christmas? The guy from Microsoft was there, and there was someone else. It was an AI talk, wasn't it, Badged? Pete White ran it, from our friends at Information Solutions.
And he was talking,
and he said that there were these, if you think back in the day, back when computers first came around and it was just banks of transistors, you had people plugging wires into different sockets and trying to make up the circuit of the program by just making different connections. Then it went to the point of like a calculator type input, and then they had cards with cardboard cards with punch holes. They were just interfaces to get the computer to do stuff. Then we went more to keyboards and a screen, and you could start typing stuff. Yeah. And now we're at that point of voice and almost with video. So like I talked in the last episode about the AI agent of somebody, you could just talk to this AI version of them. So this is what you're talking about, isn't it? There'll be a point where people will laugh at you because you're using a keyboard. Why do you need a keyboard? Just talk to the bloody thing. Talk to it like a human, and it will react.
And that's good. And we're at that stage now where we're doing it with speech to text and everything else. But this is something different where you're saying, I want to know everyone in this CRM who's, done this thing or I don't know, ordered this product or is in this location and it's going to feed you those results back. So you could actually, all those questions that you have in board meetings or strategy sessions where you're going, wouldn't it be great if we knew this?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, who's going to go away and write the query for that and sort all the data out?
Yeah.
We're getting to the point where it's going to be, I can tell you.
Well, imagine even in the on-sale bit, if through the sales process, people in their calls have said, oh, by the way, does it have an automatic calibration on the widget, on the what's his name? And you say, no, sorry, it doesn't have that. Okay, fair enough. And they buy it anyway, or they don't, whatever. And then that feature comes out. That becomes something that it gets developed. Yeah. Well, imagine, unless you wouldn't have thought to tick a box, write it down, and do that. But because it's on the script, that unstructured data, you could surface that, and you could say, right, who are all the customers we've ever spoken to that have mentioned something to do with the calibration of the widget on the Ujima Flip? All right, well, I can get back in touch with them now, because we've got it.
So interestingly, so voice technology is expected to grow to a $50 billion industry by 2029.
And you can sort of believe it, can't you? Because if that is, like our Microsoft guy said, or whoever it was talking at that event, it's just the next iteration of computer input. We've had keyboards for a long time. That's 40 years is the main way of programming a computer, 50 years. Postcard readers and all that sort of thing. If voice is the next thing, imagine how many keyboards are made.
Well, so apparently the example they gave of this voice technology enhancing customer experience is Mercedes Me. I don't have a Mercedes, so I wouldn't know. But if anyone listening does, they could tell us all about it. But it's the voice app is connected to an Alexa, and then you can tell it to unlock the car, start the engine, precondition, whatever, heat the seats. And you're just doing that as you're probably not brushing your teeth because that might end up with some
There's a wrong moment to choose there. You're going to have a toothbrush in your mouth.
But it's almost like you're just saying stuff. Oh, but do this, order this. When's it going to be? Oh, we need some more milk. Oh, on that. Yeah. Fridge is on it. Fridge is on it.
Yeah, internet fridge.
All these things. So how does that then? And I think there's another point I was thinking about with this. I think it's really important. That's the Mercedes are doing that, luxury brand, whatever. It's worthwhile. I've heard a couple of people talk about this recently. Going to either a high-end hotel, sit in the lobby, go to a Michelin-star restaurant, go and see what's the kind of the pinnacle of customer excellence, customer service excellence, customer experience. And obviously enjoy that experience. You've earned it. But actually almost try and break it down and analyse a little bit and think, well, how could I bring this back to my business? How could I bring this back into how we do things? And,
Yeah, what are they doing to add value back to you, or increase the comfort, or just
or just make me feel good,
your
or
emotion.
just have they transitioned different things? How have they solved different problems? And
well, even to recognise, we talked earlier a little bit about loyalty programs, which is a very hard-nosed, maybe old-school way of trying to give a customer experience. But imagine if we could refine that and turbocharge that. That's the sort of thing that we used to do. Well, what would we do now if we've got access to all this information that we've got? What's the equivalent? And really start rewarding people for some of the stuff they've done. Look into what their problems are and help find solutions for them outside of what your main offering is. Shouldn't you be thinking of them in other ways? What do you share? What articles do you read that you selectively share to certain people because you know that's their interest?
Yeah.
Well, you've got to know it's their interest to start with, haven't you? So if you were aware of that, you can be much more deliberate about it.
I'm just reminded of talking to Michelin star. There was Rory Sutherland. Have you ever come across him? And so he tells a story about a Michelin star restaurant that wanted to tell people to turn their mobile phones off when they go into the restaurant. But they thought, well, that actually sounds, if you're paying Michelin star money, you don't want to be told what to do you? Yeah. So what they did was they put a sign near the entrance that could be clearly seen that said, you're now able to turn your phone on. So as people came into the building,
on the way out, it said
on the way out, but you could see it as you came in.
Right.
So people then thought, well, the social norm around here must be that everyone turns their phones off. I don't want to be the one whose phone rings.
That's nudge.
And it's those sorts of things as well. That's customer experience, isn't it? So it's
like that.
Clever use of language, clever use of stuff. I thought that's a really neat way of doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I think the point is here: be aware of the fact that you don't forget your customers when you've sold to them. Obviously you deliver the service, but there's more to it than delivering the service. Our expectation now is that you get looked after in other ways, and that by dealing with you, doing business with you, there are other benefits that come along with it. As part of the package. They get a little bit of your expertise, you're caring about them, you're thinking about them, and making connections in a worthwhile way.
And a McKinsey study found that about 71% of consumers now expect personalised experiences.
Of consumers,
and 76% are frustrated with the lack of personalisation. And I think that's because people know we've given up data. We know the technology exists, all those things you were saying. There's an awareness of it. They know the technology's there. Yeah. So why have I not got this personalised experience?
No, absolutely. I can see that. And I was talking to someone the other day. They said now is not a good time to be a technology late adopter.
No.
You don't, like they say, you're not going to lose your job to AI. You'll lose your job to someone effectively using AI. So just start using this sort of stuff and seeing how can that be leveraged so that if customer experience is the realm that you're thinking about in that moment, that you're in the first half of the companies that do it, not the second half, because you'll get swallowed up by it all. And something I'm keeping an eye on, and I'm looking forward to being able to do a podcast on this in the future, is the new, I think it's ChatGPT, or is it the Microsoft angle on it, but the operator. I think it's ChatGPT Operator. It's only available at the moment in the US and only to pro users paying $200 a month, not just the $20 a month user level. But that's where the agent can access websites and act like a human. So a bit like you're saying about go and get the milk, almost that, subject to internet ordering it. But you can just talk to your voice device, whatever it may be, your Siri, your Alexa and things. And as you start asking it things, it will then go and interact and book a table at a restaurant or buy the plane tickets and reserve your restaurant over in wherever you're going, and all that sort of stuff you can get it to do. So imagine when you start opening that up and you can then get it to do things just like you'd ask a colleague to do things. Can you go and research this for me? And when you find someone that fits that, can you do this? Go there and fill that in, do one of these, put them into here, write them a letter that says that or email that says that, give them a ring to do that. And all of this stuff can just be done through these agents. Well, that's about being, not losing your job to AI, but losing your job to someone else using it, because that's a real superpower.
And even, I had a conversation with ChatGPT the other day, which makes me sound incredibly sad. But it's so hyper-personalised. Yeah. And I was just interested. I wanted to know how low was a bear's heart rate when it was hibernating, because I'd noticed that I've had a 10% decrease in my beats per minute since the start of this year, since I stopped drinking so much coffee. And I'm pretty sure...
Thank goodness you didn't mention alcohol again.
Of course, and the alcohol. But mostly coffee, I think, is the reason, because I really cut back on my caffeine. And so I was...
Be careful, though. There's research that says if you have more than 5 cups a day, it'll help reduce your chances of getting dementia.
Yeah.
You die something else. We're all going to die something.
I'll worry about that when it happens.
Yeah.
So it's so you're
having a chat about.
But I ended up having this conversation and got really into a personalised thing about diet, fitness, what can I do, and it was almost like having a conversation with a person. The tone of the voice is still not quite there.
No.
But I've recently Sam Altman's posted something saying new ChatGPT models coming out, way more human.
Yeah, the new voices,
new voices, new profiles.
Well, that's because the XAI, Elon Musk's one, has come up with an unfiltered version. That was in the news this morning. So it'll swear and insult you. And, he's about with his free speech stuff. He says this is all about pushing forward the boundaries and frontiers of what AI can do. And everything up to now has been very polite and filtered, and you can't get it to say anything controversial. Well, he's gone the other way, just like he did with Twitter when you bought it. He's taken off all those filters, and you can get it to be as abusive. And now, I'm not sure that's a good thing, right? But that's the whole point of him saying we're opening up all these different styles. They're even coming up with adult voices that will include adult content.
Right.
When I say adult, 18 plus content. And I'm not sure we're going the right way with this stuff, but it just goes to show those that have got control over what's out there in the market are starting to explore all these different avenues. Yeah. I think we're going off track.
There are a couple of things then in my head. I was like, well, I probably shouldn't say this.
You were thinking more than you can say.
I was thinking.
This is a family show.
Customer experience.
And we're half an hour in, so time's up. So before you go on any further, I'm going to have to stop you because I can just see from the glint in your eye that you might say something next that would be unpublishable. So, he says quickly, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the SME Growth Podcast from Wellmeadow. Hopefully, I did say at the beginning, useful or interesting, or maybe amusing. I'm not sure if we hit any of those today, but good luck in picking the bones out of that. Thank you very much for listening if you have done, and please pass on the word of what we're doing to all of your friends and colleagues. Tell them in the pub, and in the meantime, good luck with your business.